Hello everybody, welcome to this video. In this video, we will solve 10 multiple choice questions from pair of linear equation chapter. Okay, these questions have come from previous SSLC examination paper. Shall we start? Let's start. First question is, there are the solutions for the equations x plus y equals 10 and x minus y equals 2 are. There are 4 solutions and we are supposed to find the answer. Now, one easy way to do this is you can actually solve it using elimination method. This one is an easy question. You can easily solve it via elimination method and find out the correct answer. However, I also would recommend you to consider the other option. What is the other option? Instead of solving this equation, just check which of these actually fit with the equation. So try all the 4 options and see which one is correct. How would you do that? Let's say, now take a look at all 4, right? So x plus y in this case is 10, which is correct. X plus y in this case is also 10, which is correct. X plus y 10, x plus y 10. So all 4 satisfy the first equation. What about the second one? Let's start from this end. 8 minus 2, not 2. 7 minus 3, 4. 4 minus 6, minus 2. 6 minus 4, 2. So only the A option satisfies the 2 equation. In other words, instead of actually solving it using elimination or substitution method, we just take the answer that is given and find out which one satisfies the condition. Okay, so this is what we did. So we found out that x plus y equals 10 holds good for all the options. X minus y equals 2 holds good only for one of the option, and that option is our answer. A is the choice that we have to select. Second question, very similar question. Okay, there have been 2 equations, and those equations we have 4 choices and we have to pick which one is the correct choice. How do we do it? Let's try the same method. 5 plus 4, 9. 9, 9 and 9. All 4 options, if you add them, you get 9. So the first equation cannot be used to separate. What about the second equation? 5 minus 4, 1. Actually, that means A is the answer. So if you pick A as the answer, the reason is x plus y equals 9 is true for all options. X minus 1 is true for only one of the option. And that option is the answer. Any kind of linear equation question where you've been given an answer and you have to pick one of the answers, you can just try. And usually that is fastest method to get the answer. If you want to solve using substitution elimination method, yeah, you can do that as well. Let's look at the third question. This kind of question is extremely common. You'll see for sure few questions in the examination which will be of this type. So to solve this type, we need to remember this table. Okay, so let's go through this table. As we know, a general form of a linear equation, a pair of linear equations, is something like this. So you have a1x plus b1y plus c1 equals 0, a2x plus b2y plus c2 equals 0. So that's a general form. At least one of them have to be non-zero. So at least a1 or b1, one of them have to be non-zero. If both of them are 0, then it's not a linear equation. Okay, so that's the constraint. Now, you also know that these two, any equation that is x and y, actually, linear equation in x and y represents a line. So you can draw a line in a graph representing this equation. So let's look at what kind of lines these equations will look like. So let's take a simplest example. So if we do a1 divided by a2, so this is the coefficient of x we are dividing. And if that is not equal to b1 divided by b2, which is coefficient of y. So if the coefficient of x ratio is not equal to coefficient of y ratio, you can see that it's actually intersecting lines. That means these 2 lines, they're not parallel, they're not on each other, they intersect. And if they intersect at one point, it obviously has a unique solution. That means there's only one solution and that one is unique. The key thing is we call these kind of intersecting line situations as consistent equation. So they are called consistent equation. The other opposite is the ones that don't intersect, which are parallel lines. Okay, what happens in parallel lines? They are inconsistent. There is no solution. But when are they parallel? That's where this comes in. So in the intersecting lines, the ratio of x is not equal to ratio of y. In the parallel line, a1 by a2 will be equal to b1 by b2, because if not, it would intersect. However, c1 by c2 is not equal to either of them. c1 by c2 is not equal, which means the constant ratio is not the same as x coefficient ratio or y coefficient ratio. In that case, it becomes parallel lines. What if all three are equal? Then you have this situation where they're coincident line. What does that mean? That means if you draw on a graph, they both look one on top of each other. That's what coincident lines mean. And because a line is made of many, many points, we have infinite many solutions because they're literally one on top of each other. You have infinitely many solutions. Because there is a solution, we call it consistent, but we also call it dependent. Okay, so it's a dependent and consistent set of equations. So we use this table a lot to solve the next few questions. Let's look at them. The first one, if in a pair of linear equations, standard form, if a1 by a2 is not equal to b1 by b2, what then? So not equal to b1 by b2 is intersecting line, right? So you look at this, it's intersecting line. Intersecting lines have how many solutions? They have one solution, and we can say it has unique solution. One unique solution is what intersecting lines have. This is how we use the table to answer these questions. Let's look at another one. What's the question here? If the lines drawn to linear equations, again, standard form, if they are coincident on each other, that means they are on top of each other, then the correct relation among the following is, if you remember the table, the correct relation is this, which is ratio of all coefficients are same. Okay, so coincident basically means all ratios are same, as you can see in this third option. Okay, so coincident means lines are on top of each other. Ratio of a1 to a2 is same as b1 to b2 is same as c1 to c2. All right, now let's look at the fifth question. Now, they might give you the equation as is, or they might give you a graph. So in this case, they've given a graph and they've said the lines represent equations standard form. Write the mathematical relation amongst them. So if they've given a graph like this and said, okay, this is how the lines are, find the relationship. Now, how do you do this? Now we have to do the reverse one, which is the lines in this case are they intersecting? No. Are they on top of each other? No. Are they parallel to each other? Yes. So they are parallel lines. So if they're parallel lines, what do we know? If they're parallel lines, the ratio of x coefficient is same as ratio of y coefficient. That means this is true, but it is not equal to the constant. So the answer is C. Okay, if the answer is C, what about A, B, C, D? What is A? The ratios are all same. So all same equals coincident. That means they're on top of each other. If the ratio of A and B are not equal to each other, then it is intersecting line. If the ratio is not equal, again, it's intersecting line. So it doesn't matter what this ratio is if A and B ratios are not the same. So the answer is C. Now in this case, they've actually given values. Instead of saying A1, B1 and so on, they've given the value. So 2x plus 3y minus 9 equals 0 is the first equation. 4x plus 6y minus 18 equals 0 is the second equation. And they've said the lines represented by these two, they are intersecting lines or perpendicular lines, parallel lines or coincident lines. So what kind of lines they are. How do you do? We need to find out what is the ratio of the coefficient. That's how we can tell what kind of lines they are. So let's look at the steps to find the ratio. What do we do first? First step is we find out what are the coefficients of the first equation. So first equation coefficient A1, 2, B1, 3, C1 minus 9. Similarly, A2 will be 4, B2 is 6, C2 is minus 18. What happens when you divide them? So A1 by A2, if you divide, you get 2 divided by 4, which is half. B1 by B2, if you divide them, you get 3 divided by 6, which is half. C1 by C2, you get minus 9 divided by minus 18. So minus 9 divided by minus 18. Minus minus gets cancelled. 9 times 1, 9 times 2. Again, it's half. So if all three are half, what does that mean? That means it is coincident line. If all three ratios are the same, the lines are on top of each other. Which option? It's option D. All right. So let's look at the next question. The next question actually has exactly the same equation, but different choice. Let's look at the next question. So as I said, it's exactly the same equation, but different choice. How many solutions have the pair of linear equations have? So how many solutions these two have? Now, what did we find in the previous one? That if, depending on the ratio, either they are unique, no solution, or infinite solution. So in this case, it's infinite solution because they are coincident line. So because the ratios are the same, they are on top of each other. If they're on top of each other, it is coincident line, which is infinite solution. So that's question number 7. Let's look at question number 8. What does it say? If a pair of linear equations represented by lines have no solutions, if they have no solution, then write what kind of lines are these. If they have no solution, what does it mean? That means they're parallel. Only parallel lines have no solution. So parallel lines have no solution as they do not intersect. Every other kind of line has a solution. If it's one top of each other, infinite solution. If it is intersecting, one solution. If it is parallel, no solution. So the answer is parallel line. All right, next, 9th question. What is 9th question? The lines represented by x plus 2y minus 4 equals 0, 2x plus 4y minus 12 equals 0 are. So again, two equations, and we have to find the ratio of the coefficient, and based on that, we can tell what kind of lines they are. So let's find the ratio. So we need to find the A1, A2, B1, B2, and so on. Let's start. So what is A1 in this case? In this case, A1 is 1, B1 is 2, C1 is minus 4. What's A2 in this case? The A2 is 2, B2 is 4, C2 is minus 12. So effectively, A1 by A2 will be 1 by 2, which is half. B1 by B2 will be 2 divided by 4, which is again half. C1 by C2 is minus 4 divided by minus 3. Minus minus gets cancelled. 4 times 1, 4 times 3, 1 is 1 divided by 3. Okay, so we have A1 by A2 as half, B1 by B2 is half, and C1 is 1 by 3. So effectively, are they equal? Yes, these two are equal, but C1 by C2 is not equal. If these two are equal and C1 by C2 is not equal, then remember it is parallel line. If these two are equal and this one is not equal, then it is parallel line. The answer is B. Okay. Last question. If a pair of linear equations, x plus 2y equals 3 and 2x plus 4y equals k, they coincide. That means they're on top of each other. Then find the value of k. Okay, so what does coinciding line mean? Coinciding lines means that all three ratios are the same, correct? So what are the three ratios in this case? First, we have to write down the equation. Why we have to write down the equation? Because in this case, it is not in the standard form. In the standard form, RHS is always 0. In this case, it's not. So we have to move it to the left-hand side and make it like the standard form. So we've done that for both these. Now, we find the values of A1 and A2 and B1 and B2 and C1 and C2. So the A1 is obviously 1, B1 is 2, C1 is minus 3, 2, 4 and minus k. 2, 4 and minus k. Next, ratio. What do we know? So we know that they are coincident, which means A1 by A2 is same as C1 by C2. We are supposed to find k. So we write C1 by C2 equals A1 by A2. Substitute the value. What is A1? 1, 2, 1 by 2. And C1 by C2 is minus 3 divided by minus k. Minus gets cancelled. We can show that k is 6. What is the value of k? K is 6. So like this, we have actually solved 10 questions of pair of linear equation. The important thing is that table. Yeah, the table which shows the relationship between ratios of x, y, and constant coefficient, and what kind of lines you have, and what kind of solutions do you get. If you know that table, I think most of the questions are based off that table. Yeah, I would highly recommend you to learn that table very well. Thanks for watching this video. I'll get back to you with another video soon. Till then, bye.